Do I think the governor moved too quickly? And I think that there's certainly a lot of criticism going around for everybody about not moving fast enough and moving too fast. I think that, you know, the approach that the governor's taking, the phased-in approach, is a very thoughtful approach. Having the reopening task force where we have a seat on, having conversations. I think opening offices in phases and acknowledging, I had conversations with the governor about Boston, knowing that our population doubles every day with offices, understanding that and moving that date out to June 1st, I think, is an acknowledgement of the situation we have. I think we also have companies like Liberty Mutual in the paper today and State Street, and I believe Mass Mutual, who've said that they're not going to open their offices until the summertime. I think that's going to help us. I really think it's going to be incumbent upon businesses as we think about reopening these different phases, at least in the first phase, that businesses help us as much as possible where people can work from home, allow them to work from home. I also think businesses have to understand that you have folks that work for you that are in the high-risk health category and people that are older that might not want to come to work. And I'm going to ask those companies right now, don't force people to come to work if they can do work from home to do that. Yeah.
What's your biggest concern about applying the state model to the city of Boston with your different circumstances? And what is your biggest concern rolling out your opening strategy?
The question is my concern with the state procedure, if I get this right, along with the city's procedure, and then the second piece is what's my concern about rolling out. Yeah. Well, my office is looking at all the plans rolled out. I will just say this, and I said in my remarks, I am going to put this health and safety of Boston residents before any requirements, regulations. And, you know, I know we'll work with the state on that. And if we differ, I'm not going to have a public dispute about it. I'm going to just privately have a conversation that they're going to have to adjust their plan to meet the specifications of the city in certain places, if that be the case. My concern about rolling this out is twofold. Number one, I have a concern about our economy that's basically stopped right now. And we have to, and we're seeing it in the strain in businesses, not be able to pay their rents, not being able to pay their mortgages, not be able to hire employees. I'm concerned about businesses going out of business. We read a story the other day, Stella's, South End restaurant, 15 years around, a staple in the community, is out of business. Due to COVID. I mean, we're going to lose more businesses, so I have a concern that we don't start to reopen society. So my concern is we have to get it right. We have to make sure as we reopen businesses and restaurants and retail and offices, we have to get it right, because I don't think we can afford a second close down. And I think that, you know, some of the criticism that we're getting, we shut everything down and we don't, and the virus is only 10% of Boston. Well, we shut things down in the very beginning because we didn't know a lot about the virus and we wanted to keep people safe, and there was fear out there, and there's still fear out there. And we shut Boston down. As we reopen the city of Boston, as we reopen the Commonwealth and the country, we know that the spread of the virus is going to continue, and in certain places there's going to be surges. But I think it's incumbent upon us to put all the safety protocol in place so we can continue to have the businesses open as we move forward, so we're not shutting things down again. So I think that reopening is going to, I think, slow and cautious and steady with the safety requirements in place, with the PPE, with the contact tracing, all of those things, the testing, all of that is going to be so key to make sure we can capture where we might be seeing surges come.